Hi guys, it's Kim, Spartan Stitcher on Instagram, and I'm back again with another Flosstube video. This is Flosstube number 43. It is the 18th of November 2019. Thank you to my new subscribers. I'm assuming some of you found me due to the recent post this weekend on Stitchmania that asked people their 8 favorite Flosstubers. So thank you for those who actually mentioned me. I am just shy of 1,000 subscribers, which is a little mind-boggling, but I am very grateful, and I hope you guys continue to enjoy my videos. For those that have just recently subscribed, I am a stay-at-home mom currently, but I'm an Air Force veteran of 7.5 years and currently a military spouse. My husband is active duty, currently deployed to the Middle East, and I'm living here in North Dakota, 60 miles from Canada with my 2 girls. Just, keeping the home fire going, if you will. So, I do talk about some extra things, but I try to put those at the end of the video so that we can all get to the stitchy goodness first. And if that's all you're interested in, then you can go to the next Flosstube video. So, this week in the School of Magical Stitches and Literature, I failed again to get all my homework done. So I feel like a bad prefect because last 2 weeks I haven't got my homework done, but that's the way things are sometimes. I just tried to do what I could, but real life things like, after school activities and such, plus getting ready for the trip, recovering from the trip, I didn't get my homework done. So I did 610 stitches on Beauty and the Beast 2017 for the task of something with a skeleton, or in relation to skeletons in a closet if you had any secrets. And I am right here working on the Beast's face. You can't really tell in this picture, but his hair is kind of wispy, wavy. It's a big block of blue. I did more blue. Slowly chipping away at this page. I promise I added 610 stitches. It's just the blobs of blue are getting bigger. So we'll keep chipping away at that page. It's not that piece isn't a priority right now. So, and then I was supposed to do 2 tasks on Friends Forever by Ann Stokes. I only got 1 task done. And that was for a chart that was given to you, and this one was a rack from Jessie Marie, back in like 2016. And I am over here on this page where the drapes, come down behind the throne, and then just this side, this carved wooden throne, is my nemesis lately because it is full of confetti. And so I put in 610 stitches on this one, mostly right here in the curtains because it's not as confetti heavy there, and then more in this mess. It's hard for me because unlike the rest of this piece where you can do the black first and then build off of it systematically, all that confetti, I don't know what color to use. What color to pick and go with next. So the hard part to doing cross country by color per page instead of block by block where, the decision's already made for you. So I'll probably continue working on this part first because it's easiest. This is my by the numbers 1,200 piece for Full Coverage Fanatics in November. I don't know if I'm going to get it done. I've only got 600, and because it's 10 stitch, I need to do 2,400. So we'll see. But it's also my things with wings because dragons have wings. So I can at least, participate with this piece in things with wings if I don't get my by the numbers done on this one. And then I worked on my daily piece for the Q4 90-day challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics on Trick or Treat, which I'm doing extreme cross country, all the black first. The last time I saw you on Wednesday, I was working on the black of this shrubbery and had just barely started this porch railing up here. So currently for the quarter I have put in 14,200 stitches, and for the month 3,700. This is my by the numbers 2,400 piece for full coverage phonetics, so I need to do 4,800. And let me hold this, make sure you're focused. Okay. Peek over this way. So I finished the shrubbery, and I did all this porch railing, and then that was a page finish. And then I came over and I did all of this. I already worked on this today, so I did this little dude today. I finished the extra credit task, a piece related to the Deathly Hallows, because one of the Deathly Hallows is the Infinity Stone, or yeah, and it's a stone walkway, and these are stone fence posts. And then I started the next extra credit task is a piece related to Shell Cottage, Gringotts, or the Burrow. And I related this to Gringotts because there's dragons and these little gargoyle dudes here at the top of the house, and there's two more over here, I think. Look like goblins with wings. So I got dragons and goblins. So I'll keep working on that extra credit task since I'm not using it for homework this week. There's the whole piece so far. I'll definitely finish this row of pages before November is over. I say definitely. Now I have to do it. And okay, that brings me to plans for this week. In the School of Magical Stitches and Literature, we had 4 different tasks. And then Vicky did a random draw per house to see which task you actually had to work on. Task 1 is something you didn't want to stitch on because Snape has become headmaster. And for that, I put Friends Forever because of all the confetti. Task 2 was a piece that you want to steal because they went to the ministry and stole the locket back from Umbridge's office. And I also used Friends Forever for that one because who wouldn't like to have a pet dragon to sit on your lap? Really? Come on. And task 3 was a place that you would like to visit because they're apparating so many different places. And I chose Hogwarts Travel Poster for that one because who wouldn't want to go to Hogwarts? And then task 4 was a piece where you look at it and it makes no sound. Because when they visited Bathilda Bagshot in Godric's Hollow, she never said a word. Well, Ravenclaw's had number 4 chosen, so a piece without a sound. And I chose Friendship Compass by Glendon Place. Doesn't make a sound. It's just a really neat mandala design. So I have to put in 500 stitches. Now, as you see, there's not 500 stitches left. However, so I'll finish the green in this corner, I'll finish the green there across the top, and then I get to start beading. This piece has 4 different bead colors you need to choose. Again, there's no colors or bead colors chosen for this piece. It's completely choose your own adventure. Pick your own colors. The darker the symbol, the darker the color. And let me show you the beads that I chose. This is just, you know, trying to use 1, 2, 3 stitch to look at bead colors. Let me fold it this way. So you have a purplish color, a cream color, a mauve color, and the sea green. The purple doesn't exactly match, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do the other 3 colors first. And then might order something different for the purple. We'll have to see. And then this weekend in Full Coverage Fanatics is Big Strides Challenge, where we work on our largest full coverage piece. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There is no stitch requirement. We just all want to get progress on our largest pieces. And my largest piece right here is Supersized Color Expansion Museum Shelf by A. May Stewart. And I'm down here in the dinosaurs. So I'm working on this page right here. So we'll get to the top of the, we'll work more on the Triceratops skull. There you go. There's my starting point. We'll see how much I get to. I am going to count these stitches for an extra credit task and magical stitches, of course. Try to get, work on 2 groups at the same time. Extra credit task is a piece that relates to one of the main characters of the books. It's called Museum Shelf. There's a whole bunch of books. Can you guess which character? It's Hermione. So I will get 1,010 stitches towards that extra credit task. And as a side note, a few days ago on my Instagram account, I posted pictures of how I stitch on these large frames without any type of stand. So if you're interested in looking at that, go to Spartan Stitcher on Instagram. I demonstrated with Trick or Treat, but I use the same method to stitch on Museum Shelf. Just using what you got without, spending a lot of money. Let's see. Long-term plans. I was going through my stash, mostly my kitted items, to see what my New Year, New Start is going to be. I have it narrowed down to a few different possibilities. But it made me realize that, and I talked about this before, my 8 oldest whips now, chronologically, are all full coverage. And obviously, I don't know if I'm going to get any finishes next year, full coverage finishes, but I definitely need to get a lot of full coverage progress. So that's going to be my focus next year. A lot of full coverage. I'll still be doing non-full coverage pieces so to prevent burnout. But because of that, I'm a prefect now in Magical Stitches. I'm not going to be a cast member next year. I'm going to be doing my own thing. I'll still be a guest. I can still participate in some of the challenges if they line up with my personal goals on my full coverage pieces. Excuse me. But I'm not going to be one of, the prefix / cast member. And I talked before that I didn't think I'd be able to get all 25 national parks done for our National Park Challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics because so many of my pieces are tent stitch and that requires doubling the stitches. But as I was thinking about it, I figured might as well try at least 1 month to see if you can hit that mark, because 100,000 stitches divided by 12 is 8,333 or something like that. Now that's full cross. Most of my pieces are 10 stitch. I have 2 full coverage pieces that are actual full cross. So my idea in January is to use a combination of my full cross full coverage pieces and my 10 stitch pieces to see if I can hit that mark, the monthly amount for the national parks. If it's, if I have to struggle to reach that mark, if it's easy, and then if it's too easy with, using the full cross pieces, then I can do more 10 stitch pieces. Because one of my full cross pieces I want to finish next year is Macintosh Mill, the Dimensions kit. That's Charles Wysocki. Most of that piece is full cross. However, some of the background is 10 stitch, but is not really confetti, so it goes faster than, say, Haid. And then my other full cross piece is a summer ball. So in January, maybe February, I'm going to be playing around with my rotation, combination of 10 stitch, full cross, how many days on full coverage pieces, how many days on non-full coverage pieces. It's going to be it's going to be fun playing around, trying to figure out what works for me. Yeah. Oh, there's one other thing I'm going to try to get to. I don't know if it'll be this week or not, but as I was going through my stash to pick out my New Year New Start, I found this, which my mother-in-law gave to me a few years ago with the intention of me finishing it and keeping it, but she's going to be visiting us over Christmas. She's going to be here on Christmas. With my husband gone, I have her here for 5 days, the first, 5 or so days of Christmas break, and then my parents are coming for the week of New Year's, so that, my girls aren't going to be bored and missing Daddy. So, this is a kit, a stamped cross-stitch kit, white poinsettia table runner, from my grandmother-in-law, if you can call her that. So, my mother-in-law's mother, that she was never able to finish. She passed away a month before I got pregnant with my oldest. So there's a non-blurry look at the cover piece. It still has the instructions. It still has the needle, and thankfully the needle was in the instructions and not in the piece because it did rust. And there's still all the threads. And it's so close to a finish, guys. I don't know why I haven't finished it before now. So this piece has regular crosses, straight stitch, French knots, satin stitch, and all of the white stitching on this piece is done. The only thing that's left is metallic gold. So I will give you, here's the full shot. It is 14 inches by 44 inches in centimeters. That's like 35.5 centimeters by 112 or so. So it's a decent sized table runner. You can see all the white is done. All the way across. And thank God that includes all the French knots. I don't have to do all those French knots. So, alright, this end is completely done. Let me hold it up and get it to focus. So you have all this white. The berries, both the white berries and the gold berries, are satin stitched. And then you have these, gold frond straight stitches in the metallic. The edge of this ribbon all the way around the piece, those are the French knots. That's an awful lot of French knots. But those are all done. The only thing left to do is the metallic. So, let's see. This one, I got 2 more berries and all the gold fronds to do. This one needs all the gold. Berries and fronds. Berries and fronds. This one has some berries done down here, but it needs more berries here. And then all the fronds. Let's see. That needs all the berries and fronds. All the berries and fronds. Berries and fronds. And then you're done. So, the metallic was started, never completed. The only problem I have with this piece, reading the directions, is that it says to wash the piece before you start. Because it's red fabric, and, red things tend to bleed when they're washed. I don't know if my grandmother-in-law ever washed the piece. And certainly now I can't wash it because I don't want all that white to turn pink. And then the other thing is, because it was meant to be washed first, the ink from the stamp is permanent. So you have to be careful and accurate in your stitches so that the floss covers the stamp. Because I've never really done stamp cross stitch. I thought it was one of those things where you could wash it afterwards and the ink disappeared. But it'll be an adventure, but I don't think it'll be that hard. It's straight stitch and satin stitch. Now, yes, it is with a whole lot of metallic floss. So, I mean, look at how much white floss she has left. And all the white is done. And then there's the metallic in there too. So, We'll see how easy or difficult it is to work with. But my idea is to give it to my mother-in-law, even though she probably meant for me to keep it. But I think that'd be a really nice surprise, right? A little piece of her mother. So I have about a month to get that done. But again, I don't think it'll take me that long. Let's see. If you watched Stephanie from Lindy Stitches, her latest video, she posed some really good questions if you're considering UFOing a piece or adopting it out to let someone else enjoy it. I strongly advise that if you feel that way about any of your pieces that you're really just not enjoying stitching on, you go watch her channel or her latest video and see what she says so you can ask yourself those same questions. I have adopted out 3 pieces, I think, and it's such a relief. Both not to have that weight on you and to know that someone else is going to enjoy it. So let's see, what else in my notes? Anything else stitchy before we... Nope, that's all the stitching stuff. So if you're not interested in real life stuff or Air Force stories, then we'll see you later. I had to take my dog to the vet this week after coming home from the border. She's got something going on with her armpit, and then in between her hind legs where there's not much hair, she has some red skin irritation. We have no idea what it is. She's on antibiotics, and they're doing a culture to see if it's ringworm. Or talking to her breeder, she had a dog that reacted violently to a flea bite. Now, she doesn't have any fleas. They checked. And she's on, flea and tick medicine year round. So, luckily, she's feeling okay. She just has these red irritated spots that we're trying to take care of. And she doesn't seem to be bothered by them, but I want them gone. Spencer is doing well. He showed this weekend. He did better than when I was there. So the last show, he's improving. The scores did not reflect that, but that's just one judge who personally knows my friend who was riding him and decided to be subjective and catty instead of objective and helpful. She gave outright wrong scores. So each movement in dressage is scored 1 to 10, and if you do the movement at all, it should be a 5 or above. And she gave Spencer several 2s. When he did the movement and he was in 2 means you didn't do the movement and your horse is completely out of control, like leaving the arena a mess. That is not my horse. He did not deserve 2s. But the good news is that other people saw the ride, saw the test, knows that his score was not justified. It was completely wrong. So I don't think they're going to invite this person back to be a judge again. Okay. So that will be the last show of the year for him. Deployment stories. Air Force stories. First little nugget of information. I wouldn't have remembered these stories if not for the fact that most bases create a newspaper or magazine weekly to, showcase things that the squadrons on base are doing. Accomplishments and things. And even helpful articles. Here is a recent newspaper from my base right here from November 8th. So there's some things that squadrons are doing. And then there's even, here's an article, becoming a father when you're deployed. And then, of course, there's, what's going on the base, local things in town, just basic, good information newspaper stuff. I don't usually read it much here, unless I know that, my oldest daughter's in Girl Scouts, and so they put together one of those little free libraries and took a picture, decorated it, painted it and stuff, and so they'll probably be in the newspaper. So yeah, I'm going to save that. but then it's free newspaper to line a birdcage for Hopper to poop on. Being honest, it's free newspaper. But when I was deployed to the same place my husband is at, they put together more of a magazine instead of a newspaper. And I have this gigantic book that I started as a wedding present to my husband to kind of keep a memory keeping type thing. And then I used it up until 2017 is what it filled. So there's a whole lot that I should have put more in here, but I didn't. Anyways, I saved some of those magazine articles and things that are things that our deployed squadron did on the night. So I was able to read them. There's an example. This is the cover of the magazine and some of the articles. They did not use full names for the aircrew members that did these things for security's sake. They only use call signs. So that if anybody gets a hold of it, it's just call signs and a picture. Like, I know who the guy is because I was deployed with him, but... So I have a few different articles in here. I'm going to tell you some of the things that we did. When we were deployed, our F-15Es were primarily in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom in Iraq and Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. But then there was also some, like a minor operation, I mean minor, only because it was a shorter amount of time, called Operation Mountain Lion, which was in the mountains of Afghanistan. And one of the things they did, so there's tons and tons of mountains in Afghanistan, and that's where the bad guys, meet up and such, because there's tons and tons of caves. Well, they had our guys blow up the entrances to the caves. So it's, precision bombing using 500-pound bombs. I think they just used precision guided munitions instead of the missiles. And demolished, the face of the mountain so that they can't get in these caves anymore. Here is I see you, Anne. You're sending me messages. Here is a actual picture of one of our F-15Es from Operation Mountain Lion. So that's Afghanistan in the background. Let's see, focus. Okay, basic F-15E anatomy, if you will. This and this are external fuel tanks. This right here and this right here, the curves, if you will, are conformal fuel tanks. Let's see, missiles, munitions right here on the fuel tank. There's our more bombs, missiles. Little circle right here. That's where the 20 millimeter gun shoots out. And there's another bomb right there. Those are all 500-pound bombs. And then these two are not munitions. They are not dropped off the airplane. This is the navigation pod. This is the target pod. The front of the target pod is a big ball that moves around. So they can look down and see what's going on the ground. And the navigation pod does the same kind of thing. Okay, so there's two people that sit in an F-15E. The front guy's the pilot. The back guy is the weapons system officer. So he uses the nav pod and the target pod to look at things. So besides knocking out the caves, let's see, another example. Let's see. In Iraq, the army guys were doing the dirty work, if you will, being in danger. But then there's an office, if you will, called the JTAC, which is the Joint Tactical Attack Control, or Joint Terminal Attack Control. So that's the link between the army guys on the ground and the Air Force guys in the air. And so they coordinate, and the army guys can ask for help. and the Air Force guys help them out and can pass information. So one of the bases in Iraq had been mortared, so they were sending shoulder-mounted munitions into the base, and they found the bad guys, but then the bad guys are in a pickup truck and they're traveling, and so they talked to the JTAC and they asked the Air Force guys, our F-15E guys, to track this pickup truck and tell them where they went. So this is called close air support. Our guys didn't actually drop any munitions, but they were tracking the bad guys so that the Army guys could pursue and do their thing. And let's see, another example was also in Iraq, supporting the Army infantry guys. They were under fire from bad guys. Let's see, I'm skimming real quick. Our jets always fly in twos, or at least they were when I was there. And they always have a wingman. So they received a call from the JTAC saying these Army guys need support. They're under fire. And what our jets did is to fly low and very fast over the ground in what's called a show of force. Now, if any of you have seen the Thunderbirds or the Navy Blue Angels, you get a fraction of an idea of what that's like. Because there's always a sneak airplane that flies over when you least expect them, really low and fast. Well, it's even lower and even louder when you're in combat. We're talking 500 miles an hour, so full afterburner, very, very low, and they're also dropping flares out of the belly of the jet. So very distracting. Obviously, you can't keep firing at the Army guys when you have an F-15E that you're ducking from. So this allows the Army guys to, get out of the bad part, get out of Dodge, if you will. So that's another example of close air support from our guys that didn't actually involve dropping any munitions. It's just using our equipment, tracking the bad guys, and then using our muscle power to scare the ever-living crap out of them. I will leave you with this one picture real quick. Everybody have a good stitching week. This is a picture of me on the flight line. Those walls, because our jets had munitions, protect the rest of the flight line and the base in case there's a munitions problem. So, you guys have a good stitching week, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.